All right, what's up? Hey
Hello, hello.
everyone.
How's it going?
Good, good from my
Welcome to
side.
another session. Number six now.
Woohoo.
Number six. Now we can count with two hands. Yeah.
In your case, would be what, three paws?
with two, with, yeah, four paws sometimes it's hard to count with a
and we
clause,
have a, another lecturer or professor in the
We have a
house.
professor in the house. He
Look
will
at you.
say that it's not, but it's kinda.
Yeah, I was just gonna say
So
you guys are making me a little bit I don't know, bashful. I'm definitely not a professor.
Wait,
I
guys, let us know
mean,
in the chat. He looks like one though, doesn't he? Like one of those professors straight
I
out
mean
of
like
Harry Potter.
unshaven,
yeah,
kind of messy.
uh, exactly. Yeah, you're like the from divination classes or something like that in Harry Potter. So
That's
like the
probably the
cool
only thing I
ones.
have in
Oh
common with
yes.
professors.
I said
Yeah, you're
divination
very different.
because yeah, for the cool from the cool ones. I said divination classes because Mr. or well, Professor Adam Longhorn is a data analyst at Thunder. So he's like always on the watch, on the trends and what's gonna come and what's about to happen.
I try to be, but I
Gotcha.
So
no, I can't
Adam,
predict the future, right? I can only look at the past. That's basically what I try to do.
as they say, if sometimes to see the future, you have to face or like see the past.
I like to think
Or
so.
as they say, like
Sometimes it just makes things more
it can, as
confusing.
they say, yeah. Well, we have to, grasp ourselves from something. Like at least the only data we have is past data.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so
Yeah.
Adam,
So,
tell us a little
Adam,
bit more about yourself, Adam.
Sure. Well, firstly, this is the first time I've been on a THNDRversity session, so I want to say thank you
Whoop,
very
whoop.
much, Mary and Cody, for inviting me. I'm really happy to be here. So a little bit about myself. Well, Cody's already kind of given me a small intro. I am the data analyst on the Thunder team. I joined about 2 years ago. But before that, basically most of my career so far has just been doing analysis, just a lot of stuff centered around analysis for different types of industries. So I started off actually, it's an interesting connection here. I started my career actually at the Federal Reserve of the United States. So I was a research
Wait,
analyst there for 2
what?
years.
What?
wait,
What?
what? Wait, I didn't know this.
No way.
I met. I would. I met. Well, I saw. This was after Alan Greenspan left. So I'm kind of dating myself, but this was like during Ben Bernanke's tenure at the Federal Reserve. So I met him
No way.
very briefly in the elevator. And yeah, I was there for 2 years. It was a great job, honestly. Really nice environment.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I was there for 2 years. I worked for telecom, retail, consulting, now mobile games. Just you name it. I've done some analysis across many industries. Maybe one other thing, Cody asked me to explain how I became a Bitcoiner. And I'm now starting to think that maybe I'm a Bitcoin maxi, possibly, maybe not the most maxi of maxis, but I'm probably approaching this. I kind of became a Bitcoiner just like at Thunder, really. Like many people, like heard of Bitcoin long time ago, but I'm just like, oh, it's probably like a scam. It's just something I'm not interested in, whatever it is, probably too complicated, ignoring it, stupidly for a very long time. And then I don't know, coincidentally, like a few months before I even joined Thunder, I started like just looking at like, crypto and all this other kind of, shit coins, excuse my language. and I put some money into
Correct
it
term.
pretty quickly. Pretty quickly lost some money, you know. And then I came to Thunder, and I think like really kind of where it kind of flipped for me. It was pretty early on. You know, I think I was talking to Jack about this, and he just goes like, "Look, Adam, your journey's probably the same as most of us. Is like we started getting into some of these other stupid projects, tokens, whatever this is, and you know, if you kind of step back and you just look at the whole space." And you got to figure out like which one is the absolute best, and it's Bitcoin. And you know, kind of Michael Saylor puts it best. Really, he's like, "What's the best crypto? It's Bitcoin." You know, what's the second best? Well, there's no second best, and it's true. There really is no second best. And quickly, that like kind of like light flipped for me, or switch flipped for me, and I started seeing that it was the best. And then I just followed that path right for really like the last 2 years, and like there's just no comparison, Bitcoin versus just nothing. It's just Bitcoin. So I find it really interesting. I try to make sure that I'm not just like in an echo chamber with Bitcoin, because it's really kind of fun to just hear other people like, yeah, it's going to the moon, it's going to the moon. But I try to be a little bit more critical about it. And I really like all the discussions. I really like, all of this. I really like the fact that there's like some controversy with Bitcoin, because like, I think it's good. I think it's honestly, in the long run, it's really good for Bitcoin. And I think the worst thing to happen to Bitcoin is actually it just becomes irrelevant. People don't care. So all of this is good. And I think it's all going to get worked out. And, as they say, TikTok next block, that's it. It just keeps going. And that's the beauty of it. So anyway, background in analytics, became a Bitcoiner 2 years ago, and I'm probably going to start avoiding seed oils pretty soon and live somewhere, in the country, and, get some guns and, I don't know, something like this. It's probably my direction.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you, man.
Oh my gosh. I had no idea you worked at the Federal Reserve. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's like crazy nice because it goes.
Oh.
Whoa.
We just lost Cody.
We lost Cody, but I think he wanted to say it goes in line with today's topic, which is learning about money, number one. So we're doing a money series now. So like this is lesson 6, but we're doing part 1 for the money series, and we're doing learning about money number 1. And our material for today is hold on, I'm gonna pull it up. This is our material for today is buy mentalism is pegged to bad policy. Hi Koti. I was just telling them about the material we'll be working with. Koti?
Is he back? Maybe?
Yeah, well, he's physically back. But this is the material for today, guys. So feel free to scan the QR code so you have a copy of the material and we can read it together as we always do on THNDRversity. I'm going to be showing this this QR code.
It's can you hear me?
If you missed it the first time. Yes, we can hear you. Welcome
hello,
back.
Hello. Thank you. Incredible. I just opened the window and the signal goes a little bit better. Go figure.
Wait, isn't it cold?
I'm in a bunker, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
I'm in a mountain in a bunker. I'm like, literally, this is a bunker.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
But we're learning money in a bunker.
Probably.
Oh, see, there you go. The wind blew the lead window closed. So.
Oh my gosh.
Again.
He's
okay.
Back.
Let's go with Mary. Just with the lecture.
Yeah, sure. So I'm gonna
the text.
Yeah, so I'm gonna share my screen real quick. as you all know, I have like a bajillion tabs open, so I'm gonna have to
I'm
look
not
for
the
it.
only one.
Man, I don't know how people just live with just three tabs open. It just makes no sense. But here is the material that we're going to be using. So, for those who are new, we're going to read this material together and then share our thoughts on the material. And, I wanted to say we're three professors on this call, but we are two. So let me start by reading the material. So this material is from WTF 1971, which is the which okay, we did this last week. So last time it is the time when the US dollar stopped being pegged to gold. So we're gonna be reading this material. It's called Bimetallism is Pegged to Bad Policy. All right, so I'm starting with the
Yeah.
first
Be-
paragraph.
before before we read it, I want to say, I mean, I was the one who chose this text, and I would like to take this project and read like one article per session. Why? Because this is from a site called WTF Happened in 1971. I don't know, Adam, if you know this site. Maybe I sent it to you once, but it basically explains why prices have gone so much like worldwide, but specifically from what happened in the US with the gold standard. And 1971 was the time when the Nixon administration, you know, took us, basically the entire world, out of the gold standard once and for all. So, which is still funny because some people still believe that, I don't know, gold is somehow like the backup of our currency, which is not. And the good thing is Adam worked his first job in this was like in the Federal Reserve. So he will
So
have
ironic.
really cool insights. Yeah, yeah. Probably he will have some cool insights. I don't know, Adam, did I show you this, or did you know about this WTF happening in 1971?
Um, I think it might have come up over the last 2 years. Like I'm vaguely kind of familiar with this website, but you sent me this link um, before the THNDRversity, so I checked it out again, and I'm familiar with.
Yeah,
I'm quite familiar with their website now.
it's fine. It's fine. This is the charts and so on is more like for each one in their home, like processing and so on. So yeah, Mary, the first one is called
Uh,
bimetallism. It's what's the name?
is pegged to
It's back
bad
to bad
policy.
policy. All right,
Man, every
let's
time we
start.
do a THNDRversity, I learn a new word. So today's word
Yeah.
is bimetallism. Let's see what it means. Okay, so Keynesians have long decried the early American eras of metallic money standards as a cause of economic recessions. The answer is expansion and contraction of money and credit, as is typical. Okay, so this sentence or this paragraph is interesting to me. I know that I've not gone far, but it's interesting to me because this seems like a really strong statement that, you know, metallic money standards being the cause of economic recession. How is that? Why is it like that? So,
I
like,
can I can
go.
probably interject a little bit, here is that I think that the Keynesians are basically like the supply side, economists, and they basically think that they can drive the economy by government intervention. So,
Hmm.
if they say, for example, like, oh, it causes recession, it's because probably they think that people don't have access, right, to capital. Capital becomes more expensive,
Mhm.
and because it becomes more expensive, then the economy tends to go into recession if that's the case. So that's my guess is that's
Oh,
what it's alluding to.
got it, got it.
You
Koti, do you
see,
want to add to
Professor
that?
Adam. No,
I
I'm just
guess.
listening to
Right?
Professor Adam. Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't just look like a professor. He is professor, legit. So, pegged pegged bimetallism started in the United States under the Coinage Act of 1792. The little known truth about pegged bimetallism, however, is that it is an expansionary monetary policy. In this case, US bimetallism, silver is pegged to gold at a ratio where the face value of silver legal tender exceeded that of the underlying metal value. Wait. Okay, this went almost over my head. Wait, are they saying that silver was pegged to gold, gold was then pegged to fiat, or fiat was pegged to gold? And
Silver,
Well,
yeah,
what
silver.
they're definitely saying is that there was a peg from gold to silver, or silver to gold, vice versa. It was pegged.
that's what made that's what made the pegged silver more valuable than the silver itself, right?
Well, I
That's what
mean,
they're trying to say.
there's underlying, there's underlying supply and demand going on, during, for example, that, at any given time, right? There could be issues with supplier, or, let's say upward or downward, demand pressures. But point is if it's if gold and silver are pegged to a, particular ratio, then, there's always going to be, some sort of breakage versus what the market's actually dictating. So what it's basically saying is, like, for example, like 40 parts silver to 1 part gold, whatever that would be, right? It got to the point where the
Mm-hmm.
government says that's the peg, but the reality is the price of silver actually was much lower than that. So it was maybe more like 60 parts silver to 1 part gold, but it wasn't the official government
Oh,
exchange
whoa.
rate.
So it was like, so the picture that popped in my head when you were explaining is like, how these guys who, like, no offense to those who play forex, but like, I the picture that popped into my head was like the government, like, imagine the government like standing behind a computer and was playing forex with our economy.
I think it's I think it's kind of similar to I don't know, maybe Cody's got a bit of experience with this, possibly, based on, maybe his background, but I know for sure, and we've heard recently in what's going on in Argentina, right? The government has like a stated exchange rate, between the Argentinian, what is it, peso and the dollar. And the reality
Hmm.
is, on the open market, it trades differently.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
the magnitudes are just surreal. They're not based on. Basically, they subsidize that to whatever they want to
Yeah,
favor
but
them
that's not
to.
how it really trades, right?
Yeah.
So it's just what the
No, no,
government
no, no.
says.
Let's say just in unities. Let's say the real value of, in this case, dollar is like 1,000. Let's say 1,000 sats, and they are selling the dollar officially like 1 or 10 sats or something like that. But they really cannot. You cannot access this official one.
Right.
So yeah.
But doesn't that mean that the government's kind of like making a profit at of the difference?
What do you think?
I mean, I don't know.
Yo,
I think the government would likely also have, be subject to, whatever the real market price is. So,
what do
Well,
you
what
mean?
used to happen back home is that, as I said, let's say black market or the unregulated market or the real market was 1,000 sats, and the official one was 10. What you will have is that some people who are like close to the government, especially specifically to this office in charge of the exchange, the official exchange, because we had a secretary just for that. They will do their underground uh, deals with dealers, and they would sell in a price like in between those two, or like a bit more to the real price. So yeah, they get a high commission from that. But in the end, as Adam said, you cannot escape reality. And when it comes to imports and so on, the market will tell you what the real price is. And no matter what they say, when you're living under that regime, you're gonna see that food I mean, it's lacking. There is a lack of food. There is a lack of energy. You will have, everything gets more pricier, harder to get, and this kind of stuff.
Oh, geez. But it's crazy
Yeah.
because, like, if the government is profiting from the difference, like, they're also taking our taxes. So, like, they're making more money off us. Like, bro, when does this end?
Well, there could be. I mean, I don't think that they're necessary. Well, actually, they may be profiting somehow. But point being is that if the government actually needed to go buy dollars, they would have to also buy at the given exchange rate, just like everybody else. It's not like the United States. The United States would sell the Argentinian government, at like a super great discount just because they stated that's the actual exchange rate. Like the United States would sell it at the market exchange rate. My guess, at the very least, there's probably other reasons, behind this, but my guess is it's actually just PR. Is they say, oh yeah, that's the exchange rate. That's the real
Yeah.
exchange rate. But
Some
beyond that,
things.
I mean, I honestly don't know why they even do it because like it's not like anybody's really fooled.
What I noticed regarding, let's say, this arbitrage these agents have when they're arbitraging in, like, inside trading from the government rates and this kind of stuff, is that they are the ones who hold the dollars. For example, in the case of Venezuela, all the dollars that came in was by selling oil. We just exported oil. That's it. There was no other export we had. So they were the dollar holders, but they profited from that crazy exchange by getting, let's say, like, the people buying with their worthless or more every single second. The bolivar is that was the currency bolivar. It got, like, devalued, but in that exchange they could get, like, more money out of people and buy
Hmm.
officially on their official names, because they still had to buy stuff with bolivares instead of dollars in the national market, because you have to remember that these are, like, not directly from the government, but someone like a henchman or someone that does the deal for him. So, with all the profit in the local currency that he made by selling these subsidized, basically, dollar to people, to common people, he could buy three houses, and stuff like that. And that happened a lot. And
Whoa.
you can tell. Yeah.
Whoa. Okay, that's scary. Okay, I'm gonna keep reading. Let's see. Here we are. Thus, silver coins under the bimetal peg were actually a fiat currency, value determined by decree. With the Coinage Act of 1873, the US government effectively ended bimetallism in the United States and moved firmly to a gold standard. So, okay, the Coinage Act of 1792, they are in the United States is making use of bimetallism. The Coinage Act of 1873, that's like what, I mean, I suck at math, like 100 years, roughly over 100 years later, they now went into the gold standard. Uh, then let me keep going. So at the time, proponents of bimetallism, ergo expansion monetary policy, referred to the 73 Coinage Act at the crime of 73 because they could no longer trade silver bullion for a fiat profit at the US Mint. While arguably moving from bimetallism to the gold standard was a good thing, the resulting contraction of the money supply in the post-Civil War Reconstruction and Gilded era railroad industrialist boom contributed to the Panic of 1873. Is that the time of the Great Depression?
No,
No?
that was like 1920 something. It's the Great
Okay,
Depression.
so I was 100 years behind.
No, no, only about
Uh,
50, 60.
test. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, that's better.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Sorry.
So
Okay.
wait, so it went from
These
yeah.
two
Go ahead,
paragraphs
Adam.
are really important, honestly. They're really, really important, I think, in this, because it's also like very much true about what's going on like right now and what potentially we're going to face, like here, what I would think in the near future, somewhat near future.
Tell us more.
Tell
Okay.
us more. Yeah.
So, first thing is that, that small paragraph right above, they ended this peg, right? Gold to silver peg. Okay, so that's
Mm-hmm.
most important. So the people that really liked it were these people that would basically, so keep this in mind, right? So let's say the market said the real market price was like 60 units of silver for 1 unit of gold, something like that. So they would just be like, all right, I'm taking that silver. And then they would take it to the bank and they'd say, okay, well, what is the actual exchange rate? And the bank says, oh, it's 40 to 1. Well, I say, okay, no problem, right? I'll now take
Mm-hmm.
60 I bought on the market, 60 pieces to 1, and I'll take it to the bank and get 40 to 1, right? So I just made a profit, right? So those
Yeah.
guys loved it. They were just like, it was just like the easiest money to ever be made, right? And so they were like, oh, it's a crime. It's a crime. This is my business, right? And it was like true for like, this act, this by metal peg, act that's been active for like 81 years. So for them, it was like forever, basically, right? And so when they
Mm-hmm.
finally ended it, they were like, this is horrible. But what happened, what also what the what the reading is, what the reading is saying is that it was essentially a de facto fiat currency. And when this stopped, right, we basically went into like, okay, we now have actual hard money, right? It's the hardest money they had back then, which was gold. So now we have hard money, and we're not just making money up based on some arbitrary like exchange rate. And this is why I think it's kind of connected to potentially what's happening here, in the future, is that when the party ends, and when I say party, I mean like the fiat party. When the party ends, people are going to sober up and they're going to have a massive hangover, right? And that's what's going to really happen, right? So like every time that that the government will like inject like liquidity into the system, it's just like saying like, all right, everybody's at the party, all right, like pour more drinks, and you're getting really drunk and you're like, oh, it's having a good time, maybe I shouldn't drink anymore, but they keep pushing drinks and drinks and drinks on you, and at some point in time the drinks are going to stop, or you're going to pass out, something like this, and you will have to face that hangover. And the more you drink, the worse the hangover is going to be. So essentially what happened back then is that when basically they went off this peg and they just went on to like this hard money, gold standard, it suggested, right? It suggested, or maybe there was officially a recession in 1873. Well, that does
Mm-hmm.
not surprise me at all, because like all of that money that just got printed now just basically gets like vaporized or just taken away. And it does serve a purpose. It serves a purpose of liquidity. But at the same time, it also is generating lots of inflation, and prices are rising and things like this for everything. But as we also know, when prices rise, we just print more money without proportional increases in productivity, right? You're just going to get
Mm-hmm.
huge price spikes. So point being is that, you need to take the medicine eventually. You need to sober up eventually. And this is what happened, and it caused a recession. But this recession was required, right, for you to go back on the hard money standard. Otherwise, people are just going to, when you move to a fiat currency, it's just like party starts, right? But it will end.
So
It will
does
end.
it mean does it mean that the world right now is currently partying?
Yeah. Yeah. They are in like the biggest party you can ever possibly imagine, a decades long party. And it's
Oh,
probably not
geez.
ending anytime like really, really soon, but it will end. Like it will absolutely end for sure. This is kind of what this, this website, right? WTF 1971, it has a lot of like kind of interesting charts, but essentially the most important chart is the fact that that the money base is expanding. Even though productivity is expanding, the money base is expanding a lot faster, causing prices to go up. People's
Mm-hmm.
quality of life is deteriorating significantly. Over that long period of time, people have to work more. People have to spend more time away from their kids. I mean, prices are rising like crazy. So basically, people have to cut, like, oh, I'd rather do this thing that's more healthy for myself. Oh, I don't have time for that. I don't have money for that. So I've got to either buy something that's convenient, or I have to buy something that's cheap, right? So like, just the whole, all of society's like standard of living is just degrading. And unless you're close, right, to that money spigot, right, whoever's printing that money, unless you're really close and you have access to that capital, and maybe you have some assets yourself that you can use as collateral to like get a hold of this money, and get a loan and finance it and just buy an asset and hold on to an asset. If you're not, let's say, in that class of people, you're in a different class of people where you don't have access to capital, you're ultra screwed, because all you're getting is just price increases without wage increases. So you just life just continues to get harder for you. And for the other
Yeah.
people that might have access to capital, you might just maybe be able to keep up with the expansion of money. And it's really the people at the very, very, very top, right, who are just right by the spigot, who can maybe outpace, the printing of money. So,
Whoa.
so that's it. Like, everybody, like, there's no currency on the planet right now that is not fiat based, and
Oh,
it just means that they're going to continue to print money, and they're going to continue to spend money that they don't have, and they're going to continue to, and it's going to flow through. It's going to flow through to all of us. Prices are going to rise, and eventually, it's going to stop. It's going to crash, basically.
I mean, we're like you said, we're already in this because like I think there isn't a country out there that isn't currently affected by inflation. I mean, my opinion, because like when I meet other people from different parts of the world and they tell me how bad it is, it's just like, oh, okay, we're in the same boat, you know? Like for example, in Nigeria, like the cost of living has like literally increased so much because of inflation, of the naira value, and it's been crazy. I don't know if I shared this in the last THNDRversity, but like when I newly came to Nigeria, like people, I mean, you would walk down the street and people would like you'll see like Christmas decorations up everywhere, and you would hear people like looking forward to Christmas. But now that we're in Christmas season at the time of recording this, uh, literally the number of Christmas decorations are like little to none. And now we're hearing a lot of people saying, you know what? Christmas is actually for children. So I'm just going to stay
Yeah.
home.
That's so sad. You know,
Yeah.
that
I
that kind of
know, man.
that kind of reason is like the story of the fox and the grapes. You know, in the vineyard, there's a
Hmm.
like a fable. The fox wants to eat some grapes, but he like the bunch is so tall, and the fox is trying to jump, but kind of reaches his, and then left is like, actually I don't like grapes, but he was trying to reach the grapes.
Uh huh. My dad shared
Yeah,
this
so,
proverb set my dad shared this proverb some time ago, and it was like it's only a poor man who says that beer is bitter. Like if you have a lot of money, you don't mind drinking beer, but if you're poor, you're like, you know what, beer is bitter anyway. But I love the analogy that Adam
it's funny.
I love the analogy that Adam gave with the whole party thing, and it turns out I'm not the only one who loves the analogy.
Well, honestly, it's not
Kryptonite
even
loves it
mine.
too.
It's not even mine. Like I
Yeah,
had a really good professor at university, and he was describing it exactly like that, and it's true. Like this was like 20 something years, 25. No, maybe not quite 25 years ago. 20-ish years ago, I'll put it that way. Right, taking these economic classes, macroeconomics was like fascinating. I loved it in school, and
that
absolutely like a monetary policy type expert, and that's essentially what it was. It's just injection of liquidity, and in the analysis, in the analogy, the liquidity is just alcohol. That's all it is.
Wow.
yeah.
Crazy.
Mary
Going,
Kryptonator is asking, was the what like what I said? If it was from Fables of La Fontaine? No, bro. It was from. It is from Aesop. It's a Greek fable. It was a Greek, like a fabulist, or I don't know, tale tales teller or storyteller.
Oh, Aesop's
The
Fables.
Aesop's fable. Yeah, it's called The Fox and the Grapes, like that.
Oh my
Maybe La
gosh.
Fontaine took from Aesop. Maybe La Fontaine was like the compiler or something.
Okay. Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna continue with the reading. Where am I? Where am I? Where am I? Okay, here we go. The bimetallism peg was first proposed by Secretary of Treasury Alexander Hamilton, who coincidentally also charted the first national bank of the United States. There's a reason expansionary monetary theorist Hamilton as one of the great early secretaries of Treasury. For example, on for an example on how a pegged bimetal standard can be a dangerous economic policy, review the Toku wait to,
Tokugawa.
Tokugawa coinage of Japan and its resulting massive Japanese gold outflow. Maybe we could check it later. Should we check it now?
Yeah. Yeah. Check it out. Check it out. I think
I
it's
can guess what it is.
Wikipedia.
I can
Let's
guess what it
see.
is. It's
I
probably similar to what happened back in whatever it was, 1873.
Let's see. Well, it took me here. Okay. It took me to this point. Do I read the demis or here at the top? Okay, let me start from here. In 1835, let me double check if you guys are seeing the Wikipedia page. So in 1835, the
yeah.
Tokugawa government started minting copper, 100 mon, named Tenpo. Oh my gosh, guys, like I can't read. I'm gonna call it
Wait.
Tenpo before I
Wait. Wait. Wait.
butcher
Wait.
something.
Wait.
Can
I'll
you
read
see
it.
that?
Which one?
This
Tempo
one.
Tusho? Tusho. No. Tuho. It's Tuho. Yeah. This stuff on top, like that small thing on top of the vowels, is like ooh, oh, like you make it double. Tempo
Tuho.
Tuho. Yeah.
Tenpo Tuho. You guys watch out for Koti because his next 100th language is gonna be Japanese. Just saying. Um okay. Tenpo Tuho. As a way to
Tuho.
solve Tuho. As a way to solve its budgetary deficit. As the coin contained only 5.5 as much copper as the 1 mon. Oh my gosh,
Okay, okay. One mon
kane
kane Tuho.
tuho
Kane. Yeah.
kane
Yeah.
tuho. This eventually led to inflation. This was later followed by the Satsuma domain issuing 100 mon coin on their own in 1862 to supposedly produce currency for the oh God have
Ryukyu.
mercy.
Ryu,
I'm so
Ryukyu.
dead.
Ryukyu.
Somebody
I
should
said it. I said
turn
it.
this into
Ru-
Rui Rui
Ryukyu.
Rui Q
Ryukyu Kingdom.
Rui
Ryu.
Kuyu
Ryu.
Kingdom. Rui
Yeah.
Rui.
No, the other way. The other way. Ryu. Ryu.
uh, Rui Ryu
No,
Ryu
no. Flip
Q.
the vowels. Ryu. Yeah. Ryukyu.
Whatever.
It's okay. It's okay. Whatever. For the Ryukyu Kingdom, I'll do the. I'll
What?
do the word. I'll do the hard
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
words.
There we go. That's why we're doing this together. Koti, thank you for having
Yeah.
my back. Okay, while in
Yeah.
reality, doing it to boost their own economy. These
Ryukyu Tuso. Go.
guys eventually started circulating in other provinces as well. This is exactly the same thing we read earlier, right? With the silver coins and the gold thing, right?
Exactly. That's exactly right. So
Yo.
again, so what what happened, right, is that they took this metal that they could buy on the market really cheap, and then just take it to the Japan. In this case, they took it to Japan and say, hey, what's the stated exchange rate? Oh, it's like 5 to 1 or whatever it is. Like, okay, no problem. I'll trade whatever this crappy metal is for gold at your exchange rate. And so they gave them the gold, and they're like, thank you very much, morons. And basically, they
Yeah.
just did a whole bunch of that, and they just basically a ton of gold left the country because they were just
Oh.
stupid. Sorry, that was like
No, but yeah.
it was disastrous policy.
Oh my gosh. So okay, I have a couple of questions. So like um now if you bring it to today, right, where you have the dollar that's not pegged to anything, like do you would you say that the same practice is still going on, like where with the dollar that's not pegged to anything?
Well, I think it's a little bit different, but I mean, it's a little bit different. One of the main, I think, differences is that, like, you can't, for example, make dollars, in China or whatever, Japan, and bring them to the United States and be like, all right, well, I got some dollars now, give me some gold, right? You can't do
Mm-hmm.
that. The United States government has like a monopoly on dollars, right? They can make the dollars and they can take them away, so that's a slight difference. But I think one of the main learnings here is that there could certainly be disastrous policy. Like, for example, back then there were fake exchange rates, right? That would obviously manipulate the supply of money, and also potentially lead to like disastrous consequences of the country's hard money reserve. And there could also be disastrous policy around like fiat currencies, and printing far more money, right, than the printing far more money and outpacing increases in productivity. So
So
I do want to say, sorry, I want to say something here, is that, and it's very, very important, because I think that what you said, Mary, earlier about people, about traveling the world and talking to different people about, oh yeah, how's inflation here? Oh yeah, everybody's saying like prices are up, inflation's
mhm.
everywhere, and things like this. And I kind of got the sense that people kind of were just like, well, it's just like normal, right? Just like inflation is just normal. And they've conditioned us to believe that, right? I even remember being taught in school, like, yeah, like 2% inflation, 3% inflation, like that's good. And it was explained to me by that same professor. He said that's good. You want to know why it's good? Is because it is just enough to get people to spend money now,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not too much to piss off people that are really hardcore savers, because the hardcore savers, they can kind of stomach losing like 2% a year.
Mm.
you know
Mm-hmm.
if everybody had actual hard money, like for example Bitcoin, what would be the incentive? The incentive actually would always be to save, because you
Yeah.
get to take advantage of increases in productivity in the future, where you will always have declining prices, right, versus your hard money. But if you don't have that, if you have the exact opposite, your like money that's just going to be worth like nothing tomorrow, then your incentive is to spend money right now, right?
Whoa, I never thought of it that way.
So that's it. And that's why sorry, I just maybe got a little bit too complicated earlier about assets, right? That's why people are like, all right, oh shit, like no point in saving. I'm gonna buy some stock. I'm gonna engage in this like risky sort of business venture. I'm going to just mortgage myself like crazy. I'm going to buy a huge ass house or a second, maybe Airbnb. I'm going to somehow hustle this or do whatever, because everybody knows that, like, the money is not going to be worth anything. Saving is a loser's game, right? In this type of in this type of an economy.
Oh my
So
gosh. Yeah, it's true. Because, like, okay, I tell this story all the time. Like, when I was, like, this is 2018, and I was walking home and I was just thinking, like, walking home from work, and I was thinking, okay, here I am. I'm trying to save 1,000 naira a week, right? And right now 1,000 naira is like less than $1. It used to actually worth a little more back then, because $1 is like 1,200, sometimes 1,300 naira. So anyway, um I was thinking about this, and I was like, okay, if I save $1 on 1,000 naira every month, every week, I should have a certain amount of money by the end of the month. If I continue this at the same pace, for the next 12 months, I should have a total of X amount of money. And then I was like, okay, that's great, but like inflation rate is at double digits, and the bank takes a charge every month. They don't wait until the end of the year to take the charges. They take it every month. Some take it every week because they also charge SMS fees. That literally makes no sense. But anyway, so I was like, okay, that means the more I save in fiat, in this fiat currency, I end up losing at the end of the year. So it was like a never ending loop. And it makes so much sense because anytime I have to sell some Bitcoin, which is the most painful thing in the world, I have to sell some Bitcoin for fiat. Like, I absolutely hate putting the fiat in my bank because I'm like, this fiat is useless to me now, because even if I wanted to convert that fiat back to Bitcoin, it's going to be worth like way less than it was when I converted it back. So saving in fiat is literally a loser's game. So
yeah,
yeah.
no, absolutely, it absolutely is. And I think a lot of people are just kind of trying to, maybe not a lot of people, like, personally, I don't like having savings in fiat, because I know exactly this, and I have that exact same mentality. I'm like, what can I do with my money? Like, I bought some Bitcoin. I bought Bitcoin to a level where my wife my wife doesn't want me to buy any more Bitcoin. Stop doing that. And I'm like, honey, what else am I going to do with the money? What else are we going to
Hmm.
do? Seriously, like, we can't let, our savings, too much savings, just sit in the bank, because we're just getting robbed, basically.
Yeah, I mean, okay, for example, there was this monetary policy that was passed when the new president in Nigeria came in, and the monetary policy was such that, um it just literally reduced the value of the naira, literally crashed it. It was like naira was like 700 naira to $1, and now they crashed it and it's now like 1,200. So imagine being someone who saved that much money, back when naira was like $700 to $1. No, 700 naira to $1. You're like literally screwed. Like, all this feels like toilet paper now.
That's
So
happened. Yeah, the thing is,
It
people
doesn't
joke
feel.
about
It
that.
is toilet paper.
That has happened multiple times in history, right? Multiple
Actually, it's not
times.
toilet paper.
what is
Toilet
it?
Like,
paper is more valuable.
I think it's definitely one of those things where, like, people think like, oh, it's not going to happen, to us, right? Not in the United States, or not in like Western Europe, or not in whatever country that you might be in, but there's not really been a fiat currency that's ever really survived. There really has
Yeah.
not, ever. So
Okay,
think about that.
but my question now is, like, how about countries that are in like the global south, right? So, like, if you're in the States, you have dollars. I don't know if they like what do are there people who stack like other currencies, because like in Nigeria, for example, there are some people who, as soon as they get their salary, they convert it into like into like USDT or USDC, because that seems to be more stable than the
Well,
naira.
the reason why they do that is because the United States dollar is the best of the worst, right? So there's a world full of fiat currencies, and the dollar is still the best out of all of them. And the one really nice property that that the United States currency has is it's widely accepted.
Mm.
You can basically trade with anybody, anything that you want if you have dollars. So that's why they hold it, because it's just better than what they have, and they can use it for whatever they need. That's the reason why they hold it.
Does that mean that people in the United States who hold dollars, who literally save in dollars, are like in worse off situations than someone in the global south who has the possibility of holding dollars in their country?
Well, I think that you're always going to be making decisions based on the environment that that you're in. So like if you're in, like you said, like the global south, and you might be able to have access to USDC, something like this. Okay, but you might not have access to like U.S. capital markets. You might not be able to invest in companies on the New York Stock Exchange or something like this. But you can buy USDC, right? You can go to like, let's say, like a local crypto dealer right down the street, right, and give him something, and he'll give you USDC, and you're going to be better off. So I think, being in the United States, yeah, you have access to all those types of things. You have access to all sorts of really fancy, investment vehicles, right, from the comfort of your home. Why would you need USDC? You probably don't. You probably really don't, unless you're going to go try to like speculate on some other like weird tokens, right? But that's the only reason you really would want to. But those guys in the United States they're always like, okay, we're going to find the next best like stock, find the next best investment, I'm going to double our money. You know what I mean? Like they don't really want to save either. The Americans are notoriously bad savers. It doesn't mean that they don't do anything with their money. Yeah, there's a lot of people that spend beyond their means, but it also means that they like to invest. They're kind of gamblers. Trust me.
Wow.
They like to put their money somewhere that they think it's going to appreciate in value.
Okay, so like with what we've learned so far, in your own words, why would someone shift from holding fiat and buy Bitcoin?
Why would someone do that? Based on
Yeah,
what we learned
in your
today,
own in your own words. Yeah, based on what we discussed today with the you guys, I can't read, I can't speak. Bimetallism.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I said, it's not exact comparison to like what we're experiencing right now, because like I said, like those precious metals can be found in a lot of places on the planet, and you can take them to governments that are implementing really bad policy, right? And then you can play that arbitrage. So it's not exactly the same as like what we're experiencing right now. But you want to ask me like why you would convert from fiat to Bitcoin? I mean, I have 10 fingers, but there's more than 10 reasons here. But I'm going to try to just give you like maybe a few just off the top of my head. Firstly, it's like what I've seen, it's the hardest, best money on the planet, right? By far, because it has better money properties than, even than gold, right? Mainly because firstly, the price of gold goes up. What's going to happen? More people are going to buy, excavators, and they're going to start trying to dig more gold, right?
Yeah.
Until the price comes back down. So it's not like gold is just going to go up forever. And technology, mining technology continues to get better. So they're going to continue to get more access to, more of the gold deposits that are, maybe previously inaccessible. So that's number one. The second one is just, it's not transportable. Like you cannot transport gold easily, at all. It's expensive and it's slow, right?
And heavy.
So, yeah, that's part of the expense, right? It's heavy as hell. And there's a lot of times where, like, you're going to also run into, well, oh, you're transporting more than $10,000 worth of gold. Well, we're going to need to know
True.
that, those types of, types of things. So that's the second thing. The third thing, if you're like, okay, I'm not a gold guy, but I like real estate. Well, what happens if you're like in an area where, like the political winds have shifted, right? And it's not really super great to, have real estate or have rentals. Like my friend actually has an apartment in California. And I think that he was telling me, he was telling me yesterday over beers, he was saying, they're talking about some law where they're going to start charging me some tax if my apartment is vacant.
Oh, I heard of that.
Have somebody in my apartment, like they're going to somehow charge me. And I'm just like, what the frick? Like, what are you talking about? That's my apartment. You know what I mean? Like, my point being, I don't know if this law is going to go through or not, but my point being is that your property is subject to that location's laws and political winds. So what are you going to do?
Yeah.
You've got a lot of money wrapped up in this asset that's semi-scarce, and in some cases very scarce. If you've got like really prime real estate and really sought after like location, for sure, then you're talking about scarcity. There's a lot of other real estate that's not particularly scarce, so you got to differentiate between the two. But anyway, what if you're just like, I don't want that, I want to take my capital elsewhere? Well, good luck getting out of real estate, firstly, fast and cheap. No way that's going to happen, right? So there you go. There's another reason to own Bitcoin, right? Because you're just like, you know what? Fuck it, I'm out.
Yeah,
like,
I have
and you can take your capital somewhere else.
My family has an experience with this real estate stuff. For example, my grandfather, he was an immigrant there, and he worked very hard back in Venezuela, and he bought like he was a very hard worker, just work home. But back then, when the money was a little bit better, he got like 5 houses, and that was like the retirement for him, and my grandma, his wife, and then inheritance and so on. Right now, 3 houses are basically the government released a law that you cannot remove anyone who's like inside of the house. Like, let's say we had some tenants there, and then they passed the law, and then now the tenants do not have to pay you as a homeowner, and you cannot remove them because it's against the law, the law that they put.
Even if they don't pay the rent?
They've been living rent-free for 13 years.
Yo, shit, that's crazy.
Yeah, I wonder life.
You
I'm telling you.
Oh my gosh, 13 years? For real?
Yeah.
That's insane.
And yeah, that from that moment I see real estate as garbage, to be honest. I don't care that much.
It's good if you like live in it, but I mean, it's just
No, as an investment vehicle.
Yeah.
No, if I own my own stuff, yeah. Like if I live in my own place. Like if I'm gonna invest in my own vehicle, it has to be, I don't know. People would say, yeah, rule of law and so on, but look, as you said, that you put the case of California, which is in the US, not in Venezuela, and look how it's gonna turn into that.
Yeah, but the reason why everybody thought, right, or thinks it's a good investment is because it just keeps appreciating in price. But again, the reason that it keeps appreciating in price is because they're debasing the value of the dollar, and people need to put dollars somewhere, and they see real estate as like an investment that appreciates because it's semi-scarce. So I would honestly argue, and maybe this website that we've showed everybody would say the same thing, but I would honestly argue we would not see these crazy real estate prices if it wasn't for this massive, right, currency debasement. We wouldn't, because people would just be like, well, I'm just going to save, because why would I need the headache? right? Why would I need the headache of all of that stuff? I'm just going to work hard and save, and prices are going to continue to go down for me, right? And then when I retire,
Yeah.
you know, I'm going to have what I saved, and prices are going to be at a lower level, so I can afford to live off of my savings to the end of my life. And I can just do the responsible thing, right? Rather
We
than
used to say we
yeah,
used
go
to
ahead.
say in Venezuela that the dollar is not going up. It's the Bolivar who's going down
Yeah.
in yeah
Well,
in value.
I think Kryptonator had a question. I think I see him
Yeah,
on the chat
Yeah,
here.
go ahead,
maybe he's
I don't know.
typing
How
it
drop
do
it,
I
now.
bro.
supposed to type? How does it work? Is he supposed to type it in?
Yeah, he's typing it in. So let's wait for him to type it in. So we're waiting for your question, Kryptonator. But like, so this is really hard because now that we've discussed this, I'm starting to wonder how many people have realized that that this is what's happening right now.
They haven't. They haven't. The vast majority of people just think that inflation is just normal. They've just been conditioned
Ah,
that, oh, inflation's high, inflation's low. You know, they 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 don't realize that it doesn't have to be this way. It really doesn't.
So we have Kryptonator's question coming. He says if they stop getting taxes and stuff, I think the day he's talking about is the government. If they stop getting taxes and stuff, how can they give free education and free medicine? That's a good question.
Well, I'm not sure what he means by stopping getting taxes, because the government's, I don't know any government that stopped taxing people.
I don't. Yeah,
So,
Oh,
inflation
so
itself is
okay,
a tax.
what's
so
that?
I'm I'm
Inflation
thinking.
itself, maybe
uh,
it's like how can they this quote unquote free stuff without like what collecting that much money or like having that much revenue as a government. Well, central bank
Well, they don't have
is
to. Like,
printing.
as we know, they don't have to collect taxes. Okay, they just don't have to. They just print more money, and basically
Ah,
they base the rest of it, and they say, "Oh, look, I got some money." And how much was the cost of that? Like MRI,
nah,
like $1,000. Okay, here you go. You know, no problem. But it
no.
has an
Listen,
effect. It
listen to the.
leaks everywhere. Like, it steals. Essentially, it raises the price of everything by a little bit, and a little bit, and a
Ah, I
little
see,
bit,
I
right?
see, I see Kryptonator's question now. What I mean is, I see always Bitcoiners complaining about taxes and stuff, but without taxes, where is the revenue? Okay, most of the people who are complaining is from like the US or Europe because tax is extremely high. Like for
Really
example,
high.
now my brother is in the US and finally he got like a permit to work in a legal job and so on. And now trying because the taxation is too high. He keeps very little money for himself. That's why most of the people you're gonna be complaining it's from the US Bitcoiners. But
Well,
in the second part, because I think it's like because like Bitcoiners complaining and
Let me
also
pull it
like
out.
how
So
they
this,
gonna
go ahead.
how they gonna Adam, I think you can explain without taxes where is the
Well, I firmly believe, all right, that everybody should and probably will, but I mean they should pay some amount of tax, right, to live within like a sovereign nation and be protected by the sovereign nation's laws. Like, I am a firm believer in like good solid laws that are interpreted by, by well-educated and unbiased justices, right? So I believe in property, right? Preservation of property rights. And I think that, like, at least then for most cultures and societies, I think the best ones should promote healthy living and an educated population, right? And to be able to defend themselves in case like there's some aggressors. But those services are not free, and so if you live in those countries, you should be paying tax, right? One way or another. Like you should somehow be paying tax. I think that the real thing is that can a government balance their budget, right? Are they able to collect taxes that, to a level where they can pay for all of these services that are required and not decide, well, we actually need to spend more money that we don't have, right? On various other things and political interests and things like this. This is the biggest challenge, right? And no government's been able to really do that, right? They might be able to do it for a little amount of time, but eventually it just gets to them and they're going to need to deficit spend. And once they deficit spend, they're like, oh, like I said, going back to that analogy, it's like, well, just pour, let's start the party a little bit. Everybody had a good time. Everybody's still having a good time. Anything really bad happen? Well, let's just deficit spend a little bit more,
Oh my gosh.
and it
It's
just snowballs.
crazy. It's crazy when you, it's crazy when you paint the picture like that, because we don't see it because we're in it, and it's really difficult to step out from outside the box to actually see what's happening. And I think when we stack, because I hear this a lot from Bitcoiners, right? Is I think when we start stacking Bitcoin, we tend to like step outside of the box and actually see the system for what it really is. What it really is. Man, this was intense conversation. Oh my gosh. And Adam, you're just so good at breaking it down. Like I learned a lot from this.
Well, thank you very much. Like, this I love this topic.
Yeah, thank you.
I've always been interested in, in economics and macroeconomics and things like this. And just like this Bitcoin hitting me 2 years ago just gave me like a renewed, passion, around this, and just gave me like a nice new perspective to look at, macroeconomics. And it turned my whole world upside down. Like I said, I was trained in a way where I thought 2% inflation was just normal, was just perfectly fine, that we needed to, expand and, contract the money supply. And that's all good in theory, but the reality is the money supply doesn't contract. Why? Because they can't stop spending. Once the party starts, they never want to stop, right? That's what happened.
Yeah.
And earlier in the live stream, Adam said he wasn't the professor. Okay. So usually on THNDRversity, Koti always like gives a lot of contribution. Koti kept quiet. He is in awe.
No, I was just listening to Adam for real.
Hey, like you're just soaking it in because he
also
yeah, go ahead.
Also my connection is really bad today, so I didn't want to force it that much for myself. But I think you did like you call it today like by calling Adam professor, because it was like that. And it makes sense with his experience in the field,
and
at
beard.
least when he started. Yeah, and the beer. Yeah, but no, I mean, more than a contribution is like sometimes I'm starting to take more like a no perspective of like reread or relearn again some stuff. And honestly, I was just listening to Adam. And hopefully from the coming episodes, we're gonna go through each one of these really cool articles, because they condense it too very well. Adam, I recommend you to go through each one of them. I'm also reading them, also for you, Mary.
Yeah, it's a good choice.
Especially for you, Adam, that you said that you love this stuff. These guys are Bitcoiners, by the way.
It's a good website, I think. Just presenting data and kind of like letting you kind of disseminate it and kind of put the pieces together. I think it's kind of cool, and I really like this format too, where it's a nice short article, just gives you a little bit of information to kind of discuss, and really nice job, guys. And I'd be more than happy to come back anytime you guys want. We can chit chat and
yay,
yeah, and keep going.
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Adam.
Cool.
All right, guys. Well, I do need to run.
Yeah.
I've got kids in the other room, and I need to put them to sleep. It's getting kind of late.
No worries.
So,
All
All
right.
right. Well, thank you
Thank you
very
so
much.
No
much,
worries.
Adam.
You can go
Thanks.
while we wrap this up.
Cool.
Thank you,
Thanks for
Adam.
inviting me, guys.
We
Okay.
will wrap
See
this
you
up
later.
here.
Bye,
Thank you.
everybody. See ya.
Thank
No,
you,
my pleasure.
Adam.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you, Adam.
Bye.
Yo, that was so
All
good.
right.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
give me a second. Give me a second.
Okay. I could go on and let you guys know who are still on the live stream. We've set up a mini tournament that goes live every time we do a Thunderversity, and it is called, drumroll, THNDRversity. So this is your opportunity
Yeah.
to win some sats. So you get to scan this QR code and join the tournament so that you can win some sats. It's going to be super awesome. But the catch is that this tournament is running for 24 hours. So scan the QR code, join the tournament, play Tetra Tiles in THNDRversity, and win sats. So just scan the QR code and do that. I think this is a really cool addition. And we've decided to put the THNDRversity link out early so you guys can join in. And as you're listening, like maybe if you're not the kind of person that wants to watch us laugh, but as you're listening to Thunderversity, you can be joining in the tournament. And by the time you are done with Thunderversity, who knows, you might be at the top of the leaderboard. But yeah, scan the
Yeah.
QR code,
Also,
join the mini tournament.
you're gonna. By the way, they're gonna be playing against you. It's a little surprise.
Against me? Oh my gosh. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Oh my gosh. See, I didn't know this. So
Yeah.
now like everybody's gonna be,
Sorry.
you know what?
I
I
I
have to stand this.
I kept it for my who.
No, that was so mean. So I'm scanning this right now. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
I wanted to keep that. I wanted to keep that bump. They're gonna. So guys, you're gonna be playing against Mary. Like pretty chill.
No,
It's
it's
until
not
tomorrow,
fair,
24
Cody.
hours. You will see. You will see your. You will see the timer for you to check like how long it's gonna last. Is basically just 24 hours. So yep, go ahead. Pretty chill. Thank you so much for being here. This is like a gift from our side, from sharing this moment. Win some more sats, play Thunder, share it around, invite your friends to check this, and also participate in this leaderboard. Or also check our Twitter is at Thunder.
Uh-oh, Cody, you're breaking up.
Uh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Hello.
So I just pulled out
Yeah,
the
yeah. I
QR
was
code.
saying, cool. Yeah, just join this one. Now we're gonna start like put in some messages that the events are sponsored by Clinch because they basically are. We want to approach Clinch to whoever is interested. You're gonna see the Clinch links over there. Whoever doesn't know what Clinch is peer-to-peer deposit-less wagering. So you can, for now, you can play solitaire with your friends or with anyone from the community right away. No need to deposit money. Just set an amount of money. Once the winner is decided, the prize will go to the winner, of course. And we want to make it slick, quick, and accessible as possible to anyone who's interested in to this kind of mode. You're gonna find it here. Yes. Get the QR code and check it out. Also, join us on Discord. You will find a new section in our Discord called Clinch as well, with a clinch chat and a how to clinch. It's a small guide on how to set it up like very quick, and how to play as well, or how to go to a game. Because how to play solitaire is you just need to know how to play solitaire. For planning to put some other games and so on. And then yeah, we welcome you to these two events. Well, three. Well, clinch is not an event, but it's an ongoing thing. And these two events, this one is
Mm-hmm.
THNDRversity and the weekend tournament that you're gonna find it against Cryptonator on Twitter or X, formerly known as Twitter. Thank you so much for being with us, Mary. You can say goodbye.
I've started playing, guys. I want to win.
I'm gonna play it to some rounds. Let's see who's good.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, thank you so much guys for joining Thunderversity, and thank you Adam for being a part of Thunderversity. I missed this. It's been awesome. And yeah, make sure you guys read up on the material so you guys could continue to learn. We have a section in our Discord called Thunderversity where you can have access to different materials on Bitcoin and educate yourself. And we are in the Discord in case you need any help as well. So yeah,
Yeah.
this was awesome. Take care of yourselves, and yeah, gonna be signing out. Take care,
Bye,
guys.
guys. Class dismissed.